It's a beautiful spring afternoon, and I'm sitting on the southern end of the old city of Jerusalem. I'm actually sitting on the medieval Ottoman Turkish wall that was built here in the 16th century. You can see it here. We're looking south that way toward Bethlehem, about 5 miles away. The wall continues westward, it runs that way, and it continues eastward this way, and today it encircles the old city of Jerusalem. Most of it is behind these buildings, or all of the old city is, you can't really see it today. But from this vantage point, we can pick out a lot of the geography of the city, and I want to point out some things to you. So we'll start on the east side, and we'll work westward. So the city of Jerusalem is really just a series of 5 hills and 4 valleys. The first hill is this big one here you can see in front of you. It continues to run northward that way. This is the Mount of Olives. And on the Mount of Olives today is the Arab village of Silwan. And you continue northward, and the Garden of Gethsemane would have been somewhere in here and a little bit farther north. It's kind of obscured from this view today. If you continue northward, you will see the campus of Hebrew University, one of the biggest schools in Israel today. Maybe I think it's the biggest. And from the Mount of Olives, you can drop down into a valley here. It looks like this cluster of houses and this cluster of houses are on the same hill from this vantage point, but they are not. There's a valley in between them running this way, running northward, and this is the Kidron Valley. Now the Kidron Valley runs on the eastern side of the old city today, and in the middle of it, right here, is what's known as the Gihon Spring. Now in the ancient world, a water supply was crucial for city planning, and you would never congregate or settle permanently in a place that didn't have a good water supply. So had this not been here, Jerusalem wouldn't have been settled as probably at all, but certainly not as early as it was, which was thousands of years before any Israelites even showed up. So that's in the middle of the Kidron Valley, the Gihon Spring. And also, this channel was diverted by Hezekiah, probably, to a pool down here, known as the Pool of Siloam, or Shiloach. And when you come up from the Kidron Valley, you come up onto that second hill, and this is really just a little finger of land that runs down here, and I think you can see it pinch off there at the end. This is the eastern hill, or what's known today as the City of David. It's actually still part of the village of Silwan. But this was the ancient Canaanite Jebusite city. This is the city that David's commander Joab conquered. And if you come off of the eastern hill, you drop into another valley that's been kind of obscured today because of all these houses. But you can kind of see it here, runs here. This is the Central Valley, or as Josephus calls it, the Tyropean Valley. Valley of the cheesemakers. So there's probably some kind of cheese industry there in Josephus's day. But the Central Valley and the Kidron Valley really form a nice defense around this hill, the eastern hill, which is another reason why it was probably desirable to build a city there. You can build city walls around the edges of the valleys, and it's very defensible. So in an ancient city you would want a water supply as well as a defensible hill. Now in Solomon's day, the city was extended further northward, and Solomon built the temple here. Today you can see part of the artificial platform that was built by Herod the Great there. That's the southern part of the wall of the Temple Mount. And Herod built a massive platform, but in Solomon's day it would have been a much smaller platform. So over time you have the original platform and you have it expanding to what it is today. And of course today it's a Muslim holy site, so you have the Al-Aqsa Mosque there, that black dome, and you have the Dome of the Rock further northward in the middle of the Temple Mount. So that was in Hezekiah's time, or in Solomon's time. Now from the Central Valley, you come up onto another hill here. This hill is the Western Hill. It is bigger and it's higher than the Eastern Hill. And today you can see this is the Catholic Church it's called Dormition Abbey, and it remembers the sleeping of Mary. Mary's Assumption into Heaven by Catholic tradition, one of 3 holy sites that remembers that event. And my school is also up there, Jerusalem University College. The Western Hill was not a part of the walled city of Jerusalem until sometime during Hezekiah's life. Now, if you continue westward, you will drop down into another valley. You can't see it from here, but this is the Hinnom Valley, and it actually goes around Jerusalem's western side till it meets here with the Kidron and the Central Valleys, and they form a wadi system that carries water this way out toward the Dead Sea and the Jordan Rift Valley. Now from the Kidron Valley, or from the Hinnom Valley, you come up again onto another hill that you can't see from here, it's been obscured. But this is called the Watershed Ridge. And the Watershed Ridge is very important because this is basically the dividing line of where rainwater flows. And as rainwater hits the Watershed Ridge, everything that falls east of it this way will drain toward the Dead Sea, the Jordan River, and the Jordan Rift Valley, a massive 10-mile wide piece of land that was formed by a fault line. So it's sunken in, and as you know, probably know, the Dead Sea is the lowest point on the face of the planet. So the water is all flowing downward toward that lowest point. Everything that falls east of the Watershed Ridge, everything that falls west of the Watershed Ridge will be pulled toward the Mediterranean Sea. And we've had a great rainy season this year. You can see some of the green grass down there. It's the most rain they've had here since 1967, I just found out the other day. So anyway, this is a great overview of the geography of Jerusalem, on how the city works, how the geography helps to influence some of the ways that people use this land, and the way that the land functions overall. One more shot of Jerusalem.